Broadcasting live from across the United States, this is the Multitapped Podcast.
All right. Welcome to, I think this is podcast number 19, I believe, is what we're doing today. Test Your Might, made famous by our good friend Joshua Tiberius, who is still on the internet, and definitely go check out his stuff, even though he doesn't do a lot of stuff anymore. I definitely think it's worth checking out. Great show, Test Your Might. I actually started the tag the other week, Revive Test Your Might, because Joshua Tiberius is awesome, man. So if you never watched any of his shit, I would definitely go and give it a watch. But anyways, in honor of that, we're going to be talking about some difficult games, as we did last time. This time we're going to be focusing on Konami, and we'll talk and reference why we chose Konami later at the end of the podcast. But first, we will announce who we have tonight. On our right, as always, Mr. Nico, ready to go, with his and our resident expert for Konami, at least for 8-bit. I'm not sure how well he knows the 16 and 32 and disc errors, but sure he knows the 8-bit pretty well. What kind of shirt are you wearing tonight, sir?
This is a eggplant from Kid Icarus, because that is another game that would say test your might, so to speak.
Okay, eggplant. It's really hard to see that, but I'll take your word, eggplant. I've never liked eggplant. Do you eat eggplant?
No, it's just the eggplant.
Okay. Well, I didn't know. I thought maybe you ate the eggplant.
Eggplant
too.
Wizard. You ever beat a Kid Icarus? There you go.
No. And on our left, wearing the sunglasses from Top Gun, Mr. J. Dubious. And now from his new home of California. He is no longer in the South Park state. He is now in the crazy California state. I'm not sure exactly where he is, but I know he's out there somewhere. Right? Where are you at? You're near Vineyards.
From the fields of the vineyards in Napa.
Very nice. Napa, look at him, moving on up in the world. So, yes, that is, he has now been relocated. I'm sure his Colorado friends miss him, but it's all good. Oh, was that a mannequin over there I just saw? Oh, there's the vineyard. Look at it. It's still fucking light outside. That's trippy as shit, man. That's crazy. But, yeah, so that's awesome, man. Definitely got to give him props on that one. That was a pretty cool move. I know that can be crazy too. I've moved pretty far distances before as well, so I know I think you'll be moving again soon, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, this place is only temporary.
Yeah, so he'll be moving again, but it's all good. So so these guys are here to talk about Konami games, and again, I'm not talking about the diehard like balls to the wall necessarily, but we're gonna talk about ones that we may think are tough. You know what I mean? So we'll go through those a little bit here. And there's a lot of games, a lot of games to choose from. Now, if we just did the 8-bit air stuff, it might not be as bad, but there are a lot of shit to go from. You know, and I'm going to give it over to our to one of our experts over there, Mr. Nico. Let him pick one of the first ones. And again, any game, doesn't matter what system, can PC, arcade, whatever you want to choose from Konami, you have the floor, sir. Give us the first one.
First game from Konami that I think of when it comes to like very difficult is Castlevania 3.
Castlevania 3.
For me, that game kicks the shit out of me. It's the only one so far I haven't been able to beat because it's just, I don't know, it's insane to me.
Dude, I haven't even seen past the second level in that game.
Really?
I'm about I got into the fight where you face yourself, like the purple blob of yourself, and that was just too much time spent on that. I don't know. It's just with the weird sort of placement of enemies or just sort of patterns and the knockback especially, it just makes that game so difficult to me. And this coming from the guy who plays and, beats Jim Power with his eyes closed, basically. And yet I can't beat Castlevania 3, but once again, a little bit of difference between those two kind of games. I think Castlevania 3 is a little bit, not hard to control, but its controls aren't as fluent, say, as, of course, Jim Power, which is very, like, twitchy and responsive, which Castlevania 3 as well, but for a different, reason. And the difficulty as well is just, it's different. Basically, I sum it up as just stay alive and don't die with the holy water, and you'll win the game. Like, that's basically all it is, that I see it as. And it's also been one I'm slowly but surely saying I hate. And I don't want to say I hate Castlevania 3, but it's becoming that way. Like, I would probably much rather play Castlevania 2 any day than Castlevania 3 for now, so far. But I'm just trying to at least beat it so I can at least have some sort of...
Yeah, you know what? It's just kind of interesting you said that. I got Castlevania 3. It was the last one I got. I don't know how I got Castlevania 2. I know Castlevania 1 I got at a garage sale. What's he say? ZZ Top has a Twitter. Yes, ZZ Top does have a Twitter, and we're talking about Konami Games of all things, stuff that came out when we were probably in our 30s and 40s. But yes. But anyways, yeah, it's weird. I remember getting 3. I was pretty young. I want to say I was like 15, 16, and I played it. I only played through a few levels, but I didn't remember it being that hard. So now you've got me intrigued. I'm gonna have to go back and play it. I mean, I've heard it's a difficult game, but not anything that's like crippling. And again, when Nico, the Wii guy, tells me he's got a tough game on his hands, you can take that to the fucking bank, because he is the Rain Man of games, and I know there's very few games that can trick him up. And it must be difficult because the controls on most of the games, with exception of maybe 2, they're kind of strange. The control of Castlevania is pretty tight. So it shouldn't be a limiting thing where it's like it's got such a delay and you can't do this and that. I remember Castlevania being pretty smooth as far as the controls. So it must just be a difficult game.
Yeah, the controls are good. It's just, of course, the the jumping committed arc, and of course knockback, which really set that game back to me. And like the first 4 levels are fine. Like I can get through those without dying once. But once we hit like, I don't know. I think like the level, if you choose the path where you want to get Alucard, which I do because I like having his fly ability, that's definitely where the game starts to kill me, and then I get ragey because I can't keep my holy water to basically one-shot the bosses because that shit stuns them and does like a whole bunch of damage, and it's really helpful. But keeping it is just the hardest part. And I try and get around with like the axe or the cross, and the cross is like second best, but it's still just. I think that's what also gets to me is just I need the secondary weapon, and there's people that can just do whip only, which is insane to me. At that point, it just becomes memorizing the enemy patterns, boss patterns, which is something I've tried to do with Castlevania 3, and it works half the time, but other times I just get tripped up, or there's something with the controls, or with the jumping or knockback. Just some factor gets in the way that makes me rage and start to hate the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Castlevanias in the grand scheme of things are pretty tough. I've only beaten 2 Castlevania games, really only ever played 2. I played the original on the NES, which I did a no-death run on, and then I have beaten Haunted Castle, which is basically the arcade version of Castlevania, and version M. So version M, the hits that you get are even worse. I want to say you can take like 3 or 4 hits before your entire life meter is gone. So it's even more
Symphony of the Night.
Never
beat Symphony of the Night?
No, I never even played it. I've seen it.
What?
I've never played. No, I mean, I'm gonna be honest.
There too. I have not played it.
I have played. Just from a list. I have played number 2, all of about 10 minutes. I have played 3 for maybe a few hours. I have never played Castlevania 4, and I've owned that game for like 3 years. I've never put it in.
Oh, you should.
I should. I have never played. I have never played Symphony of the Night. Matter of fact, I'll take it another step further. I have never known or watched anyone actually play Symphony of the Night in front of me. Like when I was growing up, I never knew someone that had that game and played it. I knew about it, and I've seen tons of videos and Joe Goes Retro reviews and shit. But I've never, I've never seen anyone actually play that game. So yeah, when it comes to certain games, I just have not gone around them. And it's strange because there's a lot of different Castlevania games out there, even the bad ones. But yeah, I've never once played it. I heard it's good. I've never played Super Metroid, man.
That's okay.
Holy crap!
I have it. I just finally got me a copy like 3 months ago, and it's on my list. I should do, but I've never played it.
Yeah,
never played it.
I definitely recommend Castlevania 4, and I want to relate to what one I said about how in Castlevania the mechanics are designed around the gameplay, which is true. But that's why I also really love Super Castlevania or just Castlevania 4, because that's where I think it really works with how that game was designed around
like the whip
mechanics.
swings and stuff.
And because the whip is so flexible and you can control your jump, which is like hallelujah. And while there's still knockback, a lot of that can be maintained too, which is why I think Castlevania 4 is a very vastly superior designed
soundtrack too.
Of course, I was.
Well, they all
not going to say that, but you say it, and now I want to talk about it, but I'm not.
Yeah, yeah. No, Castlevania 4, I think... Here's the way I've heard it, and maybe you guys can disagree with me on that. Castlevania 4, if you've got to be introduced to a Castlevania, you never played any of them, I would say Castlevania 4 is probably your very first one you should go and play first. Now, I'm not saying it's the best or the hardest or the easiest, but I think Castlevania 4 will give you a nice introduction to what the series is going to offer to you in any of the other games. I think, now, Symphony of the Night's a really good game, but I don't know if that's one I would start people off on, because it's a different kind of a scenario.
Different than...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you did
Four-
that,
four
you
is a
might
good
expect
entry,
other.
though.
Yeah, it is because it takes a lot of themes, music-wise, level-wise, mechanic-wise from all of the other three previous ones, and just turns it into something
Possibly
extra.
the Genesis one.
Bloodlines.
would be a
Ooh,
good start,
Bloodlines. Bloodlines is a good game. Now I've put about an hour or two.
difficult, but-
Yeah, I've put about an hour or two into Bloodlines. I have Bloodlines, and that's not a bad game. You know, I haven't even played my Dracula X either. I've got it last year I guess, but I haven't played that either. I'm interested in it. It seems cool. I have no time to play games. That's my problem. I have absolutely no time to play games. It's just one of those scenarios. But yeah, Castlevania
And
3. Good game. Good game.
And I was gonna say 1, but I just remembered that because I just recently was playing through Castlevania 3 to try and beat it because I wanted to beat it, and then that's where my slow but surely hate is coming. But with 1, I forgive it because it was the first game that has all those mechanics and all that, and it's a little bit more learnable and or able to memorize patterns than the third one to me. So I give Castlevania 3 a break. I still kind of have problems with that too, but it gets a little bit like a pat compared to 3 to me.
Pat the NES punk.
Because with 3 it came out in 90 because Castlevania 1 was like 86, beginning of the NES lifetime. And with 3 I was just
The original
expect
Castlevania
maybe-
is extremely early. I mean, it's like in the first 60 games released for the console.
Yeah, in 86, like I said, so that's like the first 2 years, 85 and 86. That's early, but yeah, my just Castlevania 3, very difficult. Probably the most difficult to me Konami game they put out, next to TMNT. But that's all I gotta say, at least for that. For
Yeah, it's a good game. Definitely something. Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely one to get to. The problem with 3 is it's definitely going up pretty far.
Yep.
So I don't know. That could be. I mean, I remember back in the day, 3 was like $10. Does anybody know what it's going for now? Is it like? I want to say I've seen it for like 30.
Let's say the 20s.
20s?
25.
I wouldn't doubt it. 2 years ago at Portland Retro Game Expo, it was trending for about 15. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, at one point it wasn't expensive, but I don't know why. I mean, people are figuring out I think that 3 is an actually good game. 1 has its problems, but 3 is definitely pretty solid. It's just hard. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you can actually see that game, it seems like it's just never have seen past the second level in 3. But I think with having all the different characters and stuff makes it really interesting.
Yeah, I think one of the few games you'll see that that actually you can pick multiple characters that I can think of in a Nintendo game. There weren't that many games. Konami was pretty good about that, though. I remember Bucky O'Hare had the same scenario there. You know what I mean? They allowed you to do multi-characters. I mean, switching your characters out in a game like that, and it wasn't like an RPG or something you could pick ahead of time, was one of those scenarios where that came in more in the 16-bit era. Probably because of the way they didn't have such system limitations in the NES. You know what I mean? Or 16, they had a lot more driving force. So being able to load more sprites and other shit like mechanics, I think, was a little more conducive. I mean, think about it, Nico. How many games can you think of where you can pick 3 different characters in a game?
Well, TMNT did it.
Well, no. Let me take that back. During gameplay, because you can switch
Bucky O'Hare.
during game. Bucky O'Hare, yeah.
Also by Konami. They were just the pioneers of that in the NES, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, Turtles, but the Turtles were the same fucking thing except for their weapons. They didn't have special difficulty where they could jump higher or anything like you were saying. Bucky O'Hare, they actually had totally different traits. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
yeah, there weren't that many. I mean, I honestly would be hard pressed to find a G.I. Joe. Okay, that's another one. Which one? Atlantis or the second one or the first one?
Atlantis, I know they do it in the first one. I haven't
The
played the
first one?
second one. I would assume they have the same mechanic where you choose 3 characters and you can pick them.
Yeah.
I haven't played that since I rented it in the 80s. Or early 90s, maybe.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so definitely that's not interesting. Have stronger characters? I don't think they have stronger. Their weapons make them stronger. I don't think there's one stronger character in the first one. I don't think one's stronger than the other.
Just some have advantages, of course Donatello's cane or his stick is, OP, so.
Yeah. I don't know about their actual stronger. It's just the weapons they have are a little bit more effective or long-reaching or Like you said, I mean, I know Donatello's kind of. I don't really particularly care too much for his shit. But I know what you're talking about. I don't know if they're actually stronger though. They may have changed it up when you get to like 2 and 3. But I don't think the first one is. I mean, it's possible though. Benny would probably know. I know he plays that quite a lot. But yeah. Anyway, so not to get off topic on there, Castlevania 3, definitely a good pick from Mr. Nico. Always pulling out with the good stuff there to start us off with. So my hat's off. Definitely pick up a copy of that if you've never played any of the Castlevanias on Nintendo. 3 would not be a bad place to start. I honestly hate 2. I'm sure there's people.
Except for the fact that you can only see the first level at the time if you're not very good.
Oh, come on. Here's the thing.
Like, the Castlevania, I would argue that the first level Castlevania 3 is almost as hard as like the Grim Reaper level in the first game.
Are
like,
you serious?
Real quick. I think so.
That's incredible. What's up, Rudy? That sounds crazy to me. But I mean, maybe I was smoking crack because I remember playing casually Castlevania 3 and not really having any like super hard problems. Like, goddamn, I'm getting my ass bit. You may be. And it's just like, and we'll get to that too. Even Benevolent Dick and me, we play Contra a lot, but Contra should not be a hard game. But there's some of you who think it's a hard game. So I don't know. We may get to that. So even though Dubious is having a stroke over there in Napa Valley over there with his camera, I'm gonna give it over to him and let him take the next one. What do you think? Give me a Konami game. Any system, anything, man. It can even be a new one. I know there's not many new Konami games, but give me a new one.
I'm going to say Life Force.
Life Force. There we go. On going back to the Nintendo. You're going to probably hear a lot of those.
Which was meant to be kind of a sequel, kind of a copycat to Gradius. I think it's way harder, personally. Yeah. I mean, I've only gotten to like the 3rd level a couple times in Life Force.
Same here.
Nice.
I would go as far as to, I think it's one of the harder shmups on the console.
Huh.
I guess when you compare it to like Abadox, it's not that bad, but
yeah, but that's not comparing any Abadox.
Shinjin-Ryu.
Shinjin-Ryu is a breeze to me. I don't know how I mastered that game.
Shinjin-Ryu. Yeah, I don't know. Life Force is a good game though. That's definitely a good one to go with. That's another one you got to have in your collection for Nintendo, I think. But yeah, I could see that. I don't know what Darius talking about. Silent Hill. I don't know nothing about no
Probably
Silent
the tank
Hill.
controls, I'm guessing, because I mean it's fine. Just it's of the era.
For what? Silent Hill or Life Force?
Yeah, because that was Silent Hill.
Okay,
I said tank controls. Yeah, tank controls in a side-scrolling shooter or just shoot 'em up. That sucks.
Yeah, I gotcha. So yeah, definitely. I mean, what is Life Force going for now, Dubious? This is like $10-15. It's kind of gone up too, hasn't it?
It's gone up slightly, but I can't see it going past 10. Really, I mean, I've seen it around go for 8 pretty often.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, again, another one of those games like back in the day used to be like a couple bucks. But now it's slowly creeping up. I would get I would get a hold of that a copy of that game. I think it's worth having. Definitely a worthy game. So, but yeah, definitely, Life Force is a good one. And we could go on forever about Life Force. It's the same thing. Like Konami always had good music, good level design. Like you said, it's like Gradius, or however you say that.
It was one of the first games that switched between having vertical and horizontal scrolling stages, I think, too, in terms of shmups on the system. Yeah,
definitely. So good choice there. I'm gonna take one from the queen of the RPGs, who has graced us her royalness with her presence in here, and brought up Silent Hill. Now I know you guys are gonna laugh at me, but I know the name. But I have never played Silent Hill. I don't even know if there's one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them.
There's a bunch of them.
What is one of you guys could probably tell me? Isn't like Silent Hill a survival horror or something like that?
It is, and I can say I've never played a single one of them.
Oh boy! Okay,
5 of them.
You played 5. Okay, then Nico's the expert because obviously me and Dubious know nothing about Silent Hill except we know the name. Tell us a little bit, Silent Hill. I guess she's meaning the first one. So,
I know the true expert is Avalanche, Jared. But
the prolapser is not here. Yeah, he's the silent asshole. So,
it's
liquor.
I mean, it's weird because like the Silent Hills, various take the story, it's always like focused on like a certain like person around the town. You know, the first one and third one are connected with like Harry Mason, Heather Mason. The second one is, of course, the most popular, about James Sunderland and his wife Mary, dead wife, who wrote him a letter. And then the fourth one, The Room, which wasn't a Silent Hill game, and then they were like, you know what, let's at least connect it somewhat to Silent Hill, because why not? Money, I guess, brand recognition. And then 5 was just 5 was beautiful, sounded great, looked great, but the story was shite. And actually, gameplay was alright. It was the first one where they went Western developers, but it's interesting. I don't know too much. I just know that they're really, the first 4 definitely are very interesting, good survival horror games.
Well, a lot of people consider that original one to be the best survival horror of all time, I think. Like, I've heard that from a lot of people that have said,
I mean, it's
their favorite, at least.
Spook, yeah. It's
Interesting.
spooky.
So, but in that sense, isn't Resident Evil in that category? Isn't Resident Evil survival horror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of a different kind.
They're very similar to Resident Evil, aren't they? Or...
I mean, they got the tank controls and the sort of third person.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just asking because, like, if you're telling me that's people consider Silent Hill better than Resident Evil, that's impressive. Because Resident Evil is like one of the ones that sticks out in most people's minds. Now, whether or not it is or not, it may just be one of those that we know it best. But yeah, that's been pretty impressive for Silent Hill to take that down. Again, never played it. Not that I've never wanted to play it. It was on PlayStation, and I didn't. I don't fuck with PlayStation.
No PlayStation over there. So.
We don't play PlayStation in my household. It's a rule. I'd be lucky. Be my luck. I'll have a kid, and they'll want to play nothing but PlayStation, and I'll have to find ways to break it every week. But because I fucking can't take it. But yeah, I mean, I've heard it's cool. It looks like a lot of people in the chat have played it. Even Benevolent Dick, which he plays a lot of games, but I wouldn't have guessed he played Silent Hill.
Sounds like some of us have homework then.
Yes, homework. Yes, I don't know though. I don't know if I can go back and play something like Silent Hill. You'd really have to get me into it.
Does anyone know if there's like a HD remaster of like the first?
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah.
That's the PSN release.
Oh Lord.
Release.
And the PSN release is just the original one just.
It's just PS1 and released on the PlayStation Store. It's just digital, that's about it.
Well, and Konami doesn't make games, and there's no chances of seeing a remaster.
You'll see a Pachinko. Well, there's already Pachinko, so whatever.
Pachinko Silent Hill.
I'm sure it already exists.
So interesting. But by the way, thank you, Carlos, for hosting us. By the way, thank you. I saw it. I just forgot to mention it back then. So, but yeah, Silent Hill. I guess we have to. I guess we're not cool, Dubious. I guess we need to play Silent Hill. But I'm sure at this point that getting a copy of it might not be too easy to get. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen a Silent Hill.
I think it's below. Most of them are below 30 still, I think. I mean, most PS1 games are below 30 still, unless it's an RPG.
Well, I mean, if it's like 10, maybe. If it's like 25 or something, I'm probably not gonna. Yeah, I'm probably fuck that. Somebody can bring it over to my house and I'll play it. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to drop. I mean, I felt stupid for dropping money on Neo Contra the other week because I got it for like $10.
Neo Contra.
Yeah, but it was or not Neo Contra. Yeah, I think it was Neo Contra. It's one of the ones on PlayStation 2. Well, just because I mean, it's a Contra game. You got to have it, even though it's not the best. It could be worse. But yeah, so. That wasn't too bad, but yeah, I don't know. That's Silent Hill. I guess again, I guess Dario gave us some homework there on that one, but I don't know. Who knows? So I'll go ahead and pick one, unless someone else has one in the chat. It's cheap. Silent Hill 2 is cheap. What's cheap, Benny? Well, Benny's the king of cheap, so that's probably a couple.
Only
popular
a few 50-cent.
Yeah, Benny buys all his games in 50-cent pieces, so I'm sure it couldn't be more than like 4
You could probably
or 8.
find it for like $10, probably around there. If you're just looking for just a case in the game.
I'll have to look. And again, honestly, I probably don't check discs enough to really be an expert on price-wise, but yeah, I would have to. I'll see. Maybe I will. I have a PlayStation 2 that was my wife's, and every once in a while I use it to play shit, so maybe I will.
If I do go check it out, I might do it is on the Vita.
On the Vita? Fair enough.
Yeah, because that screen is really nice for the way it scales original PlayStation games. So like if you can't play a digitally remastered version, that's a pretty good option if anyone's out there is thinking about doing it.
Nice. So that's not too bad. All right, well, I'll give Rewind Mike because I wanted him to be in here tonight because he's the Konami man right now, but he's not, so I'll let him bump me for a minute. Daria's already had one, Daria. We'll have to come back to you later. Rewind Mike mentioned something interesting. Batman Returns on the NES. Note he did not say the Super Nintendo. He mentioned the NES one, which is actually funny enough. Not that I promote the guy too much, but I got to give him props. He did a pretty good job on this. Game Dave just did a review, I want to say within the last week, maybe even 2 days, on Batman Returns. And it was actually done pretty well. I think he hams it up a little bit, but I'll give him props where props are due on that one. But yeah, Batman Returns. Definitely the lesser of the two as far as the graphics are well known. Most people always get the Konami, or not the Konami, sorry, either the Genesis or the Super Nintendo. The Nintendo one, of course, with the limitations of what it is, had to be scaled down. But I think it's actually still a pretty interesting game. Nico has probably played it and beat it. Have you not, Nico?
No, you know what? That could have been one because I haven't gone past the first stage, and that's where me and Mike are similar. It's just that first boss is like he's so cheap, it's so ridiculous. It's tough so far for that, but I want to pick a game where I at least got into it, as in far into it enough to have legit reasons to be like, this is really tough, and I also it's just really tough.
Yeah, I was really excited to get my copy because I knew it was going to go up. I want to say I got mine for like $10. It was a while back. I think Batman Returns is probably a $15 to $25 game, depending on where you buy it.
It was 1993. It might be even higher than that these days.
Yeah, it's definitely trending up. It's not super rare, but it's not. It's not. I don't think you're going to just find it around. Mainly, I don't think because wasn't a late release by Konami.
93, yep.
Yeah,
Extremely late.
Yeah, so again...
Well, actually, it is still going for under $15 loose, according to PriceTrending.com. It is currently $14.36.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. I mean, that's something to think about doing.
It's definitely on the rise.
Oh, so yeah.
Get a copy soon, because in the last year, it's gone up by $5 already.
Nice. Yeah, definitely.
Return of the Joker.
Well, yeah, that's a tip.
Get Return of the Joker first and then Batman, because I would say Batman Returns is the lesser of the three NES Batman games.
Return of the Joker is awesome. It's hard for me to compare anything to Return of the Joker. I just can't say enough about
That's also Sunsoft, right? It has
Sunsoft, yeah.
Pretty awesome soundtrack.
Dude, it's the only problem I have with that... Yeah, the only problem I have I know he's taking his shit. The only problem I have with Return of the Joker is I think some of the bosses... how you have to beat him is like extremely repetitive for patterns. Like it just seems to take forever unless you have the right gun, and that's not always a guarantee either.
Or turbo controller.
Yeah, well, no, it's not just that. I mean, like for like the Joker, right? Not his last form, but the one where he's floating around in the Bowser fucking machine. He just takes like so many fucking hits, and if you don't want to get your ass handed to you, you basically got to dodge and shoot, dodge and shoot, dodge and shoot, and it just takes for fucking ever. And there's not enough RNG to where you're not going to fuck it up. You basically, as long as you got the pattern down, you can always dodge it. But it just takes 3 years to do. So, yeah. Anyways, that's Sunsoft. We won't get into that. But yeah, Batman Returns is interesting. I played it a little bit. Another one that's kind of tough, kind of cheap. But yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting game. I think it gets overshadowed by Super Nintendo just because like the graphics look so much better. But it's kind of a different game. The Super Nintendo one reminded me a lot of like Aliens vs Predator in the way it did its side-scrolling beat 'em up, or Turtles in Time, or any of that kind of stuff.
It's a pretty standard Konami beat 'em up.
Yeah, it's good though. I mean, it's good, but yeah, the Nintendo one's a little bit different. So, if you ever see it out and you got a collection, you may want to, if you can get it for, like what Dubious is saying, if you can get it for 15 or 10 or even less, I would recommend you picking it up. It's not going to be a waste of money. That being said, it's not anywhere close to what the original Batman is for NES, which is a Sunsoft game, which is excellent, but not anything close to it. So if you're hoping that's gonna be like a continuation of that game, you're gonna be very sad to find that it is not. So, but definitely a good one. I don't think anyone else has any interesting ones in there, so I will go ahead and choose one here. From my list of shit, as there's tons of Konami games to go from. You know what? Well, that doesn't even count because to say then I'd be talking about the other one. Where is the PC game? I had it on my list.
The PCs.
The PCs. That's not even a PC game. But okay, I'll go ahead and say this much for me. Ones that I think are a bit hard, but not like not too super hard. Let's see, where was my... I keep fucking losing my place. There's so many games on this list here. I think Jackal. For some reason, to me, to beat it reasonably, not forever and ever keep playing it. I thought Jackal was a pretty tough game. Remember when I was younger, having a real tough time getting through Jackal with a reasonable amount of lives, like not just getting my ass fed to me, every other second. Man, maybe it was because of the controls, because the way you have to kind of move the gun around with the car can be kind of confusing and hard to learn. It definitely the way that works. Games like that I think are better when you can have two controllers, which you got later with other systems, so that you could move and then move the guns, separately, independently. But Jackal, you kind of had to finagle a little bit. But I always thought Jackal was kind of a tough game. I don't know what you think, Nico. But, I kind of thought it's tough. Now, again, it's not that it's not beatable. It's just that I think it can be difficult if you're trying to do it without dying a lot.
Yeah, it's tough. Considering it's one of those games where when you upgrade your vehicle and you die or get hit and die, you lose your power-ups. You got to start from scratch. And definitely the last level is very tough, and especially for that if you die, because you're going to need it for the last boss. But yeah, I struggled at first with that game, especially with the last level. But I got to beat it, and it was beatable, and I enjoyed it. It's definitely a good, tough challenge of a game, because you gotta watch out for all like projectiles and stuff that's coming at you, and that could kill you and ruin your, awesome streak of power ups.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's worthy of that. There were definitely some easier Konami games, but that one always kind of got me. I love it though. I thought the music was excellent. The game style is excellent. I can't say too much bad about that at all. So, Dubious, did you have anything to say about that? Have you played Jackal much?
Not extensively. I've played it off and on. I maybe have 20 minutes of experience with it total. Kind of reminds me of Commando, sort of. Maybe
yeah,
that's a weird comparison.
It does, except it doesn't have... Commando to me, I know...
It's like a much more tight Commando.
Oh, yeah. Commando to me is just fucking frustrating as shit.
It's sloppy.
It's sloppy, yeah. That's a good way to say it. I've never liked Commando. I like the idea of Commando. I don't like the playing of Commando. I always thought
if you want to play
shitty.
a good version of Commando, just play Gunsmoke, which is basically the same game but done right.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely.
It is worth mentioning that Jackal is under $10 still on price charting.
Yes, definitely. I mean, and again, Jackal is an excellent game. Another one that you might be able to get away with getting in the $5 bin that you should get, because eventually people are going to wake up to the fact that Jackal is a good game, and then you're not going to be able to find it. You know what I mean? It's just like what happened with a lot of games. Like DuckTales used to be a $5 fucking game. Not that all long ago. I used to see it on shelves no more than like 2-3 years ago. And it was a $5 game because they were everywhere. And then all of a sudden, people figured out, or maybe we all knew, we just, the scalpers and shit, had a wake-up call that, hey, this is a good game and we should buy them up. And now, I believe DuckTales, I've seen it up as high as
16 on price charting.
Yeah, as high as like $20 in a retail store. That's bullshit. There are so many fucking copies of DuckTales. Probably just as many as like Contra or Super C. There's no reason for it. But again, Jackal could be one of those ones that you could get at that, like you can get in low right now that could possibly go up. So you might consider putting that in your list of stuff. Even though it's a tough game, it's definitely, I think, worth it. And the replay value for me was always high. Like I always got a real kick out of that game. So I could beat it and then come back to it in a couple months. So it was definitely really, really good. Oh, and for some reason, the Queen of the RPGs wants me to mention Silent Hill 2. So we have a lot of backers on there, I guess.
They want you to play it.
They want us to play it. I guess, I don't know, does anybody have anything to say? Is Silent Hill 2 the best, or are they on point with that?
Most popular.
The chat seems to agree.
Okay,
I think you could enjoy it, You should do the old thing of just search up Silent Hill 2 trailer and see based on that if you want to play it.
Fair enough. I don't know. Daria plays Yeah, Dario Plays Talk's a big game, but I don't see any of these games on my doorstep, so I can't play them, you know? I may give a good review of Silent Hill 2. You never know. But yeah, so I don't know. I'll have to try that. Oh, apparently since the chat wants me to mention, I was going to mention it later, but we'll go ahead and do a little commercial break. Now available for your viewing pleasure, Mr. Rewind Mike has been doing production of his Konami Years series, which hosts a great variety of great talents today. Myself, of course, Rewind Mike, Daria Plays, you know, the Hermit herself submitted one for Goonies, Benevolent Dick, and even people outside of Multitapped. We're all helping to submit stuff for this Konami Years as he goes from, what was it, year 85, I think, or was it 83? What was the first year?
86 should be the first year.
86
and
until what?
86.
Till what, 91, 93 for NES? Does anybody
They went
know?
to 93.
91, 93. Okay, so we're going straight from there to there. So you'll get all kinds of people in there. It's definitely a worthwhile series.
Actually, 94.
94. 86. So I believe right now there's 3 out there. So we're waiting anxiously for the 4th to come out. So yes, go to Rewind Mike's page. You know, subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to the Multitap Boys. You know, we're all putting in a little here and there where we can. And I believe. Oh, 94. We're going all the way to 94. I believe you may even see one from the very reclusive Retro Island Cheating, Mr. Daisy himself. I think I've seen a video of something he did for that. So, and that guy is fantastic. So definitely sub to see that one when it comes out. So, but anyways, that enough of pimping ourselves out. So we'll get back on track. I'm gonna give Mr. Nico the next pick, because I know he's anxiously awaiting, because I know he wants to talk about some music from Konami. So,
well, you know, just
Yeah.
it kind of goes without saying.
but of course,
Next pick, another game. Let me see. I was trying to think of one that isn't the NES. Something maybe in the Super Nintendo. There's not that many though. I played. I mean,
yeah,
it's
Super
Contra 3.
Nintendo. Yeah, Super Nintendo
But-
is. Yeah, I mean, that's an easy one. I don't
Oh, yeah,
think.
once
I
you
don't.
learn it.
You know, but that's a good one. While you're thinking about that, and I want to bring this up to chat, because it's just like we were talking about with Contra. I challenge any of you in here, my 2 guests here, or anyone in the chat. Do you really think Contra 3 is a difficult game? Now, when I say difficult, I mean like you can have as many continues or whatever you want to. I think you get 3 or 4,
Choose-
I think.
We get to choose the difficulty selection.
Yeah,
or does it have to be on hard?
no, it doesn't have to be on a difficult setting. You don't have to get like
No.
the best ending or anything. But do you really believe it's that hard of a game?
At first, yes, but I think it's very learnable. It's definitely
On hard, it's like one of the hardest games.
Well,
I've
yeah,
played.
but that's not fair. I mean, it's just like I could play Doom on ultra violent and maybe never get through the motherfucker. But I'm just saying, general. I mean, you turn it all the way down, put it on easy.
It's a pretty playable game on easy. I beat it with one of my cousins as a kid on easy. So I mean, it's doable.
I watched one of the speedruns from SGDQ, and that guy made it just look like a breeze. And I think it's definitely a lot more a much more like learnable game to play than like Castlevania 3. I would say Contra 3 is hard, but not the hardest, at least from them, like on the Super Nintendo or whatever.
Yeah, no, I would agree on that. And that's the thing too. There's a lot of
The
people.
Genesis one is way harder.
Yes, that's what I was gonna
Hardcore.
say. And that's that brings up a good point. Contra 3 is has reached some sort of like word of mouth, hard as balls fucking thing where people are like Contra 3. I don't want to play Contra 3. But it's
1 out of 1 furries agree.
Yeah.
Contra is a hard game.
yeah. But it's tough. I mean, people really think it's tough, and I would agree with you. It takes a little while to get used to controls because it's a faster paced game than Contra 1 or 2. But it's not like impossible. Now, what Metal just brought up in there, Contra Hard Corps is to me of the 16-bit era and below, and we don't count Contra Force because that's just got broken ass controls. That's not even allowed. Hardcore is tough. It is honestly a hard game to play. I don't even know how to say it. Like, I've practiced a lot on hardcore, and it gives me a run for my money a lot. Now, there are different branching paths, and there are ways to beat it quicker than others, so you don't have to go through all the levels. It's not a linear type scenario like the other Contras are. But yeah, man, it's tough. Now, granted, they give you some other characters to play. Contra Hardcore was the first one to introduce non-human characters, so you can choose. I forget the robot, and I can't remember what the other one is. The wolf, I think.
Protector.
Yeah. So something like that. But yeah, they're yeah. We don't say Arcount in the chat, Benny. You get Benny started on Arcount, he'll go all night. But yes. Contra Hardcore is the definitive. If there's ever something you want to spend money on, and I believe Contra Hardcore is actually still cheaper right now than Contra 3 as far as price listing goes. Definitely, I think one to get to be more of a challenge. Definitely will give you more run for your money. It's a solid game too. The soundtrack is actually really good for what the Genesis was capable of. Might not be as memorable as the Genesis or the Super Nintendo game for music, but I think Hardcore definitely gets some really pumping music going. And they definitely push the graphics, I think, to a new level. So, I don't know. Again, I don't know how well... I think Contra 3 is definitely overrated as a hard game. Contra Hardcore is not. So definitely go and check that out, because that was a kick. That was a kick in the balls. So enough about Contra 3 and Contra Hardcore. We'll get back to Nico. Nico, so what was your pick, buddy? Hopefully I gave you enough time.
No, yeah, I was actually thinking. I think the next one will have to go for me. It's a game I've only been able to beat once, and of course, should be no surprise that my next one is going to be The Adventures of Bayou Billy.
Oh,
for the American release, of course.
The Americans, yes. I will second that with Nico. I had Bayou Billy as a kid. One of the original 50 games that I had growing up that were either get birthday presents or I bought. So stuff that was like when it came out that I had, and yeah, man, fucking Bayou. I've only played it a handful of times since I had it as a kid, but I could never get anywhere in it. Like I don't even think I've ever gotten to past the driving stages. And now again, this is me. This is like 13-year-old Jason not getting past it. So I might be able to do it now, but I've honestly never put it back in. It's weird how games set up a feeling like that carries on as long as it has. I'm now going to be 34, so we're talking like 20 plus years. But like Bayou Billy beat me up and basically humiliated me enough that I couldn't get anywhere with it. That I have honestly probably not put it in my NES since like I was below 20s. Because every time I look at it, it goes, yeah, Bayou Billy's a badass game, but it's going to kick my ass, so I'm not going to put it in. Now, granted, I mean, I'm a much better gamer than I am in now than I was then, but it still has that big mental block for me. That's how much fucking Bayou Billy's got me scared shitless that I don't even want to attempt to put it in. But I'm sure I could still do better now. But to me, it was a tough game growing up. So now you beat it before, I know that, right?
Just once, many years ago, when I was first collecting NES, that was a trial. It was definitely one of those you have to memorize everything and know like certain tricks and what to do. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. And you have to have I believe you have to have like the whip near the end of the game to beat like the final boss, basically. You do. I think so. Otherwise, nothing will do. And it's just that's super cheap, man.
Yeah. Bayou Billy even switches. It's got a lot of different modes too. Once you get one down, you think you're good, and then you're either using the light gun or playing like a version of Gotcha with the fucking cursor, and then you're doing driving stages, and yeah, it throws just about everything you can.
It's nice, ambitious multi-genre-ness in that game, but it's all very, heightened to a turn to 11 because, when it was Mad City, they were like, hey, let's make it 4 times as hard for the Americans, Yeah. I'm pretty sure that they pushed the renting agenda or whatever as well, but just, of course, now, looking back, or looking at it now, I mean, as just a game to play, it is ridiculously probably over difficulty or whatever.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Dubious, have you spent much time trying to play it?
I own it, and I don't think I've actually ever played Bayou Billy. Like I've always heard it's really hard, and I was like, I'm not really gonna dig this. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. Do you have it though?
Yeah, I do own it.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I don't. Again, another one of those games. I imagine Bayou Billy probably trends under 10. I can't imagine it's more than that.
I got mine for 2.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably get lucky and get you for a $5 game.
It's a cheap game.
There's
no people going out and buying Bayou Billy.
And that. And again, that goes back to that. I don't know why. Like, I know people give Bayou Billy some shitty, some shitty, like you said, they know it's hard or it's difficult. It's a good game. You just gotta. It's just like any of the other ones we're mentioning here, guys. It's a good game. It's just a little difficult. Stop being a fucking pussy. And throw down $5, and maybe it's gonna take you a month or two to learn, how to fucking beat it. Is it that difficult? I mean, we're not talking about shit that you may never be able to beat. You can beat Bayou Billy. It's not impossible. Just do it. That's what I think, and you should get it, definitely. I mean, I have it boxed because I have nostalgia for it. But yeah, don't be a dick. Go out and get some of these hard games. Don't let it scare you away. And those of you who are collectors and maybe you want to get something interesting, I mean, you're going to throw down, like Dubious said, you might be able to get it for $2. There's a lot of copies out there. I definitely think it's worth $2. I might even wager that game could be worth $15 because I think it's that good to me. Even the music, that fucking first level theme, you know what I mean? It's groovy as shit, I'm sure. Yeah, and Nico knows what I'm talking about. I remember
the soundtrack's great, man.
For the fucking time, even that game had some badass music. So yeah, I can't say enough about Bayou Billy. So definitely should check that out. One of my most feared games that I need to go back and revisit it. And I think I definitely think it's worthy of a play. Maybe we can even scare Mr. J Dubious into streaming it maybe one night. You know what I mean? While he's out there in the Napa Valley. He can experience the craziness of the bayou with Mr. Billy over there. So I would challenge any of you all who have never played it to put it in or download the ROM or whatever you got to do to try it out. So I'll give the next one to Mr. J Dubes over there in Wine Country. Give me another Konami, man.
So for the next one, I have a really hard one, but also a very bad Konami title.
Oh, here we go. You don't hear that very often.
Tiny Toon Adventures 2 Trouble in Wacky Land, which is god-awful. It consists of about 5 levels. All of them are extremely memorization heavy and require extremely precise timing. There's not a lot of redeeming features to this one.
Oh, Lord. I mean, it could have been worse. He could have said Tiny Toon Cartoon Workshop. It could have been worse. He could have picked another weird game.
That one's easy though. This one's hard.
Yeah, but
it was made by Konami as well.
It's pointless, I think, the Workshop one. But I get you. Yeah, it's difficult with the other one. So yeah, I don't even know if I have that game. I've heard about it a little bit. I probably do. I probably need the first Tiny Toons, to be honest with you. But
the first one's quite good.
Is it? Yeah, I've heard good things, but the second one, I haven't heard much about it, or anything.
Well, it's
positive.
Just a bunch of the biggest problem with the game, the way I see it, is it's a bunch of themes you have to spend tickets to go on, and you tickets if you beat them, but all of them are basically impossible to beat, so you never get more tickets, and eventually you run out of tickets, and you have to reset the game.
That sucks. That sounds
yeah.
awful.
Yeah, pretty much everything about it's pretty poorly designed, and like the only thing that actually resembles the original Tiny Toons game, which is a good game, is the final level of Tiny Toons 2, which you're doing like Montana Max's mansion or whatever, and that's the only like truly side-scrolling part. The rest are all basically auto-scrolling levels or things like that, or like there's a weird bumper car level that's acceptable, but the rest of the game is pretty bad.
Yeah, that's it sounds something like that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I'd be too interested in it. And by the way, I don't want to stop what we're talking about, but are we bartering for car parts in the chat, Mister? I don't even know how the hell you say your name, but
maybe we are.
I hope you. I know Benny has an old car too. Maybe he can hook you up with whatever you're looking for. But good luck to you, sir. Hopefully, you can find a part to your car. I don't know what you would want a part for a car that old for, but. Some people, we collect old video games. Some people collect old shitty cars. You know what I mean?
Or bodies in the closet.
Or bodies, yeah. Jay Dubious, is there a body in your closet behind you? Apparently, that's a hot topic.
I have never opened this closet, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh.
What's in the closet?
What's in the closet? It's kind of sounding like a Post story, you know what I mean? Like
5 sealed copies of Buggy O'Hare in there.
Exactly. That'd be pretty funny the whole time he's there. Like, yeah, we opened that closet while you were there, and we found my old Nintendo games. Like, what the fuck? Could have opened it months ago. Yeah, there's probably no bodies in there. The smell would have started to come out. I know Doobie said it's a little hot in there. So, yeah, probably no bodies, man. So, but again, good luck on you finding a piece for your car. So, but, yeah, I don't... Yeah, apparently it's a hubcap. That's apparently a hot ticket there. So, oh well. But yes. I don't even, it threw me off. I don't even remember what game we're talking about. But yeah, Tiny Toons. Oh yeah, that's why. Because fuck Tiny Toons. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I probably need to play it, but I don't know. I guess I'm not in too big of a rush to get it. It's pretty cheap too, isn't it? Isn't what Tiny Toons one is the ones you can pick up for like $5?
Tiny Toons 1's probably about 20. Tiny Toons 2 is about $2 because everyone hates it.
Yeah, Tiny Toons 2. I know the first one can be kind of pricey, depending on.
The first one's a pretty good game. That's like almost a must own. It has a very fair difficulty curve and a few cheap deaths in the original, but I would call the original definitely a like top 20 must own titles.
Yeah, definitely. So. Yeah, I wouldn't advise you getting that game though. Don't waste.
Don't get the
money.
second one. Get the first.
Get the first one. Don't waste your money on the second one. Save your money. Get like a sandwich or something. But I got kind of two that I'll put together all in one. And again, these go back to my childhood memories. For some reason, I think Goonies was one of the original ones I got for Christmas. Goonies 2, of course, for NES. And Metal Gear I got in a trade when I was like 12. Goonies 2, I remember logging a shit ton of hours in Goonies 2. And if you want to, I guess I should, now that I've watched Daria's review of it, I kind of understand how the fuck it works. But I always remember Goonies 2 being one that's like, where the fuck do I go? Where the fuck do I do?
Those are the worst games.
I'm never going to fucking beat it. Is it a bad game? No. Is it
Mylon Castle kind of bullshit.
Oh, Mylon's Castle is a whole new fucking level. But even Goonies 2, I remember just like, God, this doesn't make any fucking sense. But yeah, that's as a kid, I put a lot of hours. I could never fucking figure out what the fuck I was doing, and I don't know. Maybe I should go back and play it again. But it doesn't seem like it's interesting. I guess Daria said you beat old levels with or beat old ladies with hammers and shit like that. So I probably never would have figured that out. But yeah, that's another one. And also Metal Gear. I know there's probably a lot of fans of the anything but the ones on NES fans of Metal Gear. Because I remember when Metal Gear came out on PlayStation, like my mind got fucking blown. It was such a cool idea. But Metal Gear 1, of course, we all know Metal Gear was not the original intended Metal Gear that we got here in the U.S. You know, it was like a bastardization of it. What was the original one? Was it on Famicom?
The MSX version.
MSX. The MSX. Yeah, okay. MSX is the definitive. We got a shitty... it was almost like a whole remake, wasn't it? Didn't they kind of do a lot of changes, like drastic changes to the American version?
I can't speak to that, but I think I've heard that in the past.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. All I know is like Metal Gear was kind of glitchy to me, and it was kind of confusing on how it worked. And to be fair, for some reason, my parents bought me Snake's Revenge as well when it was new. And I didn't make it any clearer either. So I don't know.
I can definitely say in the last year I have played an MSX emulator for the first time, and they must have really messed it up because like those games are pretty choppy, like almost Atari. Like it's better than Atari, but they're pretty choppy compared to like the and what the NES can usually do. So if the MSX version's the better version, then they really fucked up.
Yeah. Nah, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, Metal Gear was always just so fucking confusing. I remember, like, I couldn't even get past the first stage. And just 'cause, maybe I'm dumb, but it just didn't make any sense to me. I know some people like it, but yeah, that's not... And the Snake's Revenge didn't make it any better. Which, of course, I know it's not even associated with the Metal Gear series, at least not that I know of. So it's like a half-ass sequel to the original. But, yeah, I don't know. Nico, have you played much Metal Gear?
Nope. I played Snake's Revenge. I like Snake's Revenge.
Do you? I mean, it's a different game, though, if I remember correctly, right? I mean, it's kind of a different... Does it even follow the lore of the Metal Gear series?
Kojima was like, Snake's Revenge isn't nothing of the series. But it was just its own thing, and I was like, let's make another Metal Gear game, because money. and another great soundtrack, which is what you really get out of it.
Yeah, so very strange. I don't know. I had, again, for some reason I had both of them growing up, so I don't know. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, those are some hard ones for me. That Metal Gear, at least, I think it's more hard because it's confusing as fuck. So I don't know. But I'll give one of the last ones here because we're getting close to that time to Mr. Nico, because I know he's foaming at the mouth to talk about some more music and shit. So what do you got,
Dance
Nico?
Dance Revolution.
Oh boy,
So hard, like it's so fast.
Nico, I would pay you money, serious money, for you and Dubious to have a Dance Dance Revolution, it's like square off challenge.
I used to play it a lot back in the day. I actually own all of them for the PS2.
Oh,
Dude,
And
if we
custom
do
dance mats
Revolution-
at home.
If we do Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix, he's going down. I know
going
that
down.
game.
Nice. So yeah, that would be an interesting challenge. So, all right, Nico, hit me with what you got, man. What do you got?
I was trying to think of, once again, trying to go outside the box of NES. There's very few still, though, games I played outside the NES for Konami Games. I may have to go back to NES because that's my bread and butter, man. And there's still NES games from Konami that I still haven't, like, beaten. They're still tough. I guess I'll actually go with Laser Invasion.
Ooh.
Because that incorporated a bit of, because it's like Top Gun, the shooting, and then they got the maze sections with the light gun, because it's another game where you can use the light gun, and I haven't gone far in it. I don't remember definitely getting, probably not like to like the third stage. Actually, you know what? No, fuck that. Fuck in Laser Invasion. I'm going with Roller Games, because Rewind Mike
Horror games
mentioned
is
that.
wicked hard.
There you go.
Yes, I've beaten that game and I love that game, but it is really tough because there's a lot of cheap shit in that game.
Nice. Yeah, I've played a little. I know a little of it. I don't know a lot. What does that one usually go for, Nico?
That one's cheap. Oh god, I don't even
It's
know.
like a couple dollars, I think,
like
isn't it?
probably like $8.
Yeah, it's pretty weak as far as like the price goes. I think many people skip over it pretty
Oh, they
pretty
certainly
quickly.
do.
But yeah, that's an interesting one. Before you get off of it, Nico, I've never played it, and I haven't, and I probably should play it. But I've heard it's an excellent game. I just don't know if it's disc or not. Zen the Intergalactic Ninja. What do you have to say about that?
It's another. They sort of do some things with that game. A little, not multi-genre, but like there's a lot of interesting mechanics and stuff with that game. Rewind Mike would know a lot about that game too. I haven't played too much. The first level is interesting because it starts out like a isometric. Those like do you know the game Isolated Warrior? It kind of starts just like that game, and then it goes to side-scrolling stuff and some other isometric 3D but I haven't played too much, but seems like it's be a fun little game. Probably tough as well. Probably, maybe.
Yeah, I bought it a while back. I just haven't played it. I've heard it's an excellent game. Dubious, have you played it much?
No, not at all.
I haven't played it much. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't speak to it too much. I thought maybe you would know a little bit more about it than me. But yeah, that's definitely kind of a strange one. But, Laser... what was it? Oh, Laser Invasion. I always forget. I see that shit all the time. I just never pick it up. Can you play it with a D-pad? Or do you have to play with the light gun?
No, I don't know. I think you could use the D-pad if you just don't have it in. I think you could. I don't know. Don't remember. I don't remember, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about it. I don't even know if I have it.
There's always an option, so I'm because it's not just a light gun game. Usually, if you have the option to, you can use the D-pad.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll have to check that out. I think I have it, but I'm not 100% sure. It's cheap as shit, even if I didn't. But it is what it is. So, Mr. Dubious.
Yo.
Knock me out with something, motherfucker. Come on. I know he's been holding back.
Castlevania 64.
Oh, my God. See, I try to ask a serious question, and he throws shit out like that. By the way, when we get to his real pick, Castlevania 64 is one of the biggest fucking jokes of all time. Because, again, not everyone was around in this chat, I know, for the 64. But I remember, like, when it came out, I was there. Give me Mario, give me Pilot Wings, let's fucking play, right? And then as more games started rolling out, we got more excited. And of course, all the big titles got some sort of transfer over. Donkey Kong, Mega Man, Castlevania. We knew they were all going to go there, right? But fucking Castlevania 64 is like the biggest slap in the face with Konami's dick that I could possibly think about.
I have absolutely no idea how we spent so much time as kids playing this game, because we actually played this like pretty thoroughly. But then I'm sure if anyone who's ever played it, you get to the part where you have to carry the nitroglycerin across most of the world, and it's impossible. Nobody ever gets past that part.
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't understand it. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. What the fuck were they thinking with that? Terrible fucking game. But then again, to be fair, in the company of games that got translated, there's not it's pretty. It's bad when it's the king of the shitty ones. Like Mega Man, I'm sorry, does not play good to me. Like I could not take. Is it Mega Man 64? It's basically Mega Man Legends.
Mega Man 64 is the same as Legends. Yeah, I think they're basically the same game.
It's not fun. I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't like it at all. I don't know how the rest of y'all feel about it, but I think it's shitty.
From what I understand, there's a lot of depth there, but I never really played it. So some people have told me it's actually kind of similar to a 3D Zelda if you get really into it.
I guess it didn't look quite that interesting when I booted it up once. And then, of course, the king of them too. They fucking killed Earthworm Jim. Then the N64 is like the N64 is like the graveyard of a lot of great series. It's like a period in their career. When you talk about Castlevania games, now granted there were more after the 64, but there's kind of a period that's the end of it. They killed it. I know they went on to make like stuff on like the PlayStation, or there was stuff on like the DS and shit. Isn't they're still going with Castlevania? But
those ones weird. Castlevania kind of splits off into like two different like minds of thought. Once like the 32-bit / 64-bit generation happened, like there was the PlayStation route that it took with like Symphony of the Night, and then it goes into like the handhelds that came out on the DS afterwards, which are all like very Metroidvania based, and those are all really good. I think there's a couple on the Game Boy Advance too for that like style, and then you get the 3D style Castlevanias that came after Castlevania 64, which kind of continued into like the PS2 generation, and then later into Lords of Shadow, which basically ended Castlevania and put a stake in its heart for good.
Yeah, terrible. I mean, just really sad. The fucking 64 killed a lot of careers. I mean, we at the last Earthworm Jim. Unless you look back and talk about the HD remix, which wasn't really shit anyways, was fucking on the 64. Terrible. Castlevania pretty much died right there.
That Earthworm Jim on the N64 is one of the most god-awful messes of games I've ever played in my life.
Yeah, indeed. And you knew it was a problem, and Nico knows this, when they took one of the best composers out of the mix when Earthworm Jim 3D came out. Which was come on, tell me who was who's the composer for the first two?
Tommy Tallarico.
Tommy Tallarico had nothing to do with that piece of shit. So yes, but Nintendo did pretty good with some of them. But yeah, 64 just killed so many of these other companies' properties. That's unbelievable. So other than that, I don't want to go too much into Castlevania 64 because it's terrible. Did you have another one, Dubious? Like another real one that you wanted to mention before we go on?
I think that was my trump card.
That's your trump card? You gonna go with that?
I think so.
No Top Gun?
Maybe Zombies Ate My Neighbors is worth mentioning, which gets pretty difficult in the later levels.
Yeah, I give you that.
That was made by them, though. I mean, if you were talking like exclusive, I mean, they published that one, but...
Was it published by... It was published by them,
yeah,
though, wasn't it?
Lucas started to develop that.
Oh, yeah. So that doesn't count.
It's all wacky.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Yeah, yeah, that doesn't count.
Riders is pretty difficult.
Which one?
Sunset Riders. But, I mean, that's only as difficult as, your average Contra.
Yes, true. That's true. I don't think it's any more difficult than anything else. But you're kind of right. They're a good game, though. Good game. If you've never played that, definitely.
Extremely expensive game these days, too.
You know, it's strange you mentioned that. I remember when I picked up a copy for Donovan, I got it for like 20, $30, and that's about what it was charting for. And now I think Sunset Riders, last time I looked, I thought it was above
70 plus?
60. Yeah, 70. Last time I looked at it, it was definitely above what I thought it was worth. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck that.
Currently, loose price, according to PriceCharting.com, is $80 on the Super Nintendo and just under $40 for the Sega Genesis.
That's unbelievable. Like, I don't even know how they justify it. I don't know. I mean, how did it jump so high?
It looks like, according to the graph, the price has gone up about $25 in just the last year or so.
Huh. That's yeah, that's impressive. I know when I had to buy mine back or get me another copy because I didn't actually have one. I sold my own personal one, Donovan. It was like $40, $50, and I got lucky on that because again, I remember how high it's charting nowadays. So yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know, but yeah, as Benny talking about, like Benny turned me on to the arcade first before I played it on Super. I actually have it on Super and Genesis. Definitely the Super Nintendo is the way to go. The Genesis didn't get a good port, I don't think. But yeah, I don't know. But you could get it on Genesis, save yourself some money. I want to say it's only like half the price. It's like a $30 or $20 game. Basically, it plays the same, except the music is worse. So yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call on that one. I'll go with one more. Maybe it's a cop out. We mentioned it before. I'll do Bucky O'Hare. Bucky O'Hare is
pretty hard, dude.
Is rough for me. It's a good game. It's hard to put down because when you get a good game, even though it's difficult, you want to beat it. You want to have that badge of honor that says, "Hey, I conquered this game." Like to me, having beaten Bucky O'Hare is a much greater accomplishment to me than me doing a no-death run of Terminator. Because Terminator sucks. I mean, yeah, did it take time for me to learn how to do it? Yeah. But I would much rather say that I've beaten Bucky O'Hare or done it in a reasonable amount without dying or whatnot. So, yeah, I still want to have not played a lot. I was lucky enough to get that one gifted to me from Arthur. He actually had an extra copy for some reason and just gave it to me. So luckily I don't have to chase it down and get another one. But yeah, Bucky O'Hare is pretty awesome. I know that Nico has one. Do you actually have a copy of it, Dubious?
Sure. Oh.
I actually bought it day one, and then traded it for a copy of Mega Man 4 as a kid, and I still haven't replaced it, which is a huge bummer.
Let me ask you that. I'm guessing you're kicking yourself in the pants for that one.
Totally.
Yeah. Why did you do that? I mean, did you not like it or?
I liked Mega Man 4 better.
I got you.
I think I still would say I think Mega Man 4 I enjoy more than Bucky O'Hare, but at the same time I wish I still had Bucky O'Hare.
Of course. And, it brings up a good point. Mega Man 4 is one of my favorite Mega Man games on the Nintendo. People will argue and say like 2 or 3. 4 doesn't get enough love. I think 4 is an excellent game. It's the one that I played the most.
It brought
those are the 3 best ones.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I used to always think Mega Man 3 was the best over most of my lifetime, but once I started like getting into speedrunning Mega Man 2, Mega Man 2 is now my favorite. But
yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't think there's any disputing the fact that 2, 3, and 4 are the best on the Nintendo. But it always seems like the Mega Man 4 is like the odd man out. Like, oh yeah, it's a good game, but it's not as good as these two. Which I always felt like kind of shitty because like no, I think Mega Man 4 definitely should be in the running for one of the best of the 3. But most people always go with 2 or 3 for some unknown reason. 4 I thought was excellent.
4, as I think of all the ones on the NES, a lot of people also consider 4 to be the hardest, right?
You think?
Yes.
4 is pretty difficult, I would say.
That's debatable. I don't know if I would say 4 is. It wasn't toughest for me.
Besides maybe 1, which would you argue is harder?
1's definitely hard, but I don't count that. I mean, I'm just saying between 2, 3, and 4. I had trouble with 3. Maybe because I played the fuck out of 4 that I just I never saw it as a threat. But yeah, 3 was kind of rough for me.
3 on those levels, before the Wily Castle, after you defeat all the Robot Masters and you get the 4 zones where you have to fight the Mega Man 2 bosses, those are pretty hard levels for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's a tough debate. But, I mean, I think 4, to me, is one of my favorite. That's one of the boxes I'm really looking for. And honestly, too, I have a Mega Man 3 box and a Mega Man 5 box. And I know Rewind Mike, I don't know if he's still in the chat. Maybe he'll give me some grief. He really wants my Mega Man 3 box. If you could find me a Mega Man 4 box, I maybe consider doing an even trade. Because Mega Man 4 is like one of my favorites of all time. The one I played the most on the Nintendo. And I would love, love, love to have a copy.
Never seen that box.
Yeah, it's it's not as busy as the other graphics for the box itself, but I like it. Yeah, I don't see it as much. Matter of fact, I don't even know how I got my Mega Man 3 box. I got it off eBay.
I don't see that too much either. I have a complete in box Mega Man 2, but that's
nice. That's a good score. Those people bend you over backwards to get a 2. They just fucking. I mean, a 1's hard to get to, but 2, like, people really want. They fucking really want it. Yeah, 3 was weird. I got it on eBay, like, complete in box. And I sold the 3 because I didn't need it, of course. But I got it for, like, $30. I remember thinking, like, hell yeah. Incredible. I remember thinking, like, hell yeah, I'm going to fucking buy it now, whatever. $30, I'll take it all day. And, I mean, this was, like, 2 years ago. And, yeah, now it's, anything Mega Man's, like, fucking impossible on eBay. Like, you got to find somebody on the right fucking day to get something. Yeah, box for Mega Man 2, get out of here. Fucking people want outrageous prices for it. Mega Man 4, even though it's not, one of the, like, really sought after, they still bend you over. So,
well, I imagine 5 is pretty valuable too, just due to its rarity.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm lucky my cousin gave me a box for 5. Mine, I mean, it's pretty crumpled up, but at least I got it.
At least you got it.
I do. Yeah, he found it in the bottom of a box that he found in someone's attic because he's a mover. So he just asked him and they gave it to him. So luckily he gave it to me. So now I have a box for Mega Man 5. But yeah, man, 4 is interesting. 4 is definitely my favorite.
So we'll coordinate something. Mike find the box, you have the game, I got a manual, we'll coordinate something.
It's like that episode of The Simpsons where they tried to share that comic, We're going to end up fighting over it in a goddamn treehouse or something like that. So, now, Mega Man's not Konami. We got off track. Here's the deal. We'll probably have to do one of these on Capcom at some point as well, because Capcom is just as big as Konami. But we just happened to trail off on Mega Man 4. I love Mega Man. Dubious like Mega Man. Well, we were talking about the fact that Dubious, his younger self, which I'm sure he would have kicked the shit out of him now, traded his Bucky O'Hare for Mega Man 4. So, but yeah, is it just because you can't find one for reasonable price, Dubious, or what? Because I know Bucky O'Hare can be really expensive.
That's the problem these days. Is like when I started getting back into collecting like really hardcore, because I mean I've been collecting since the 90s, but when I started like really going for like a massive collection, that already was $55 back then. Now I think it's over 100 these days.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened to Bucky O'Hare. I remember when it was $55.60, and I was even still having trouble like grasping my head around that price. And then all of a sudden, like,
Destroyer of Cygnus did a review of it.
Yeah, LGN Defender, you fuck. Come on now.
Nah, it was when Mike Matei did the top 10 NES hidden gems, and I think that was number 1. I think that's when the rise.
Probably. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't LGN Defender, but yeah, man, Bucky went high quick.
Bucky is currently on PriceCharting.com, $112.
Oh my god.
Which definitely makes it top tier NES gold.
That is incredible.
I was looking to get the box too with it.
I would pay maybe $70. I would never pay more than that. So that's one I probably won't get. The only game that's over 100 that I actually there's like two games over 100 that I'd actually consider paying the prices for, and that's Magic Knight Ray Earth on the Sega Saturn.
Oh.
And Evo on the Super Nintendo, and that's the only two games that I think I'd actually pay over like $200 for both those.
Yeah, I almost bought Evo. I think I told you this a while back, dude, but I almost bought Evo. They had it in my local store for like $200. I just couldn't, like, money was tight at the time, and I was like, I just can't do it. I know I'd never see Evo I really want Evo. It's hard for me to imagine.
It's an
paying
amazing
200.
game.
Yeah, and one of the few games of that style that I'll play. But yeah, I just couldn't do it.
It's one I rented it all the time as a kid, and should have bought it back then. But
Oh yeah, dude, I would
play it for the weekend, and that's
I probably rented that game enough to pay for it full price. I should have just bought it. I don't know why. But
I rented Earthbound so long that I probably bought 3 copies of it back then, like when it was new.
Exactly. So I don't know what it is. But yeah, Bucky O'Hare, I don't know what the fuck happened. You know what's weird? Bucky kind of fell into that group of games that were in that mid-range price that all of a sudden people woke up or people just skyrocketed like quick. The ones I can think
Felix
about.
the Cat.
Yeah,
That's
Felix has done it, but I mean, there's other ones like I put him on the level Bucky, Contra Force, and Jetsons. All went
Jetsons
from
gone up all that
fucking
Taito stuff gone up so much though.
Fucking incredible. I mean,
Dude, Power Blade 2 was like 100, and then it's like 300 now.
That's I mean, some of these I don't know what the fuck happened. And to me, I remember Jetsons was like overnight. I swear to you, it for a long time it was around $50 to $60, and all of a sudden people woke up and they're like $150. It was like $150. You fucking shitting me? I remember my cousin was like, "Hey man, I found a copy for $120. Should I buy it?" And I was like, "No." I was like,
I don't know. Dude. I was like, these prices are erratic, man.
Yeah, I was like, "Do you really want it?" I mean, it's not that good of a game to me. I wouldn't pay that kind of money for it unless you just gotta have it. But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
You know what? Another that's on the rise quick is Vice Project Doom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one's
Power
quickly on
Blade.
the rise, and that game is like become one of my favorite NES games. I love Vice Project Doom so much. People like me saying that are probably the reason the price is shooting up.
That's probably true.
No, we gotta take a back step. We gotta just say that great games suck and that no one should buy them.
No one should buy them. No, yeah, I know it's weird. I don't know where all that shit goes. Vice Project Doom. I'm actually happy to have a complete copy.
Welcome.
Nice. That's one I'd love to find the box for.
Yeah, I have I don't know if I bought that from Nico or
I gave you a copy. Was it because you had that you want just?
That's right. That's right. Nico either sold me or gave me a copy of Vice Project Doom, and then I actually saw it at SGC, and it was CIB, and I was like, I gotta have it.
Okay, so I have Nico's old copy then.
Yeah.
Because I bought my copy from you.
Yeah, that was I sold you Nico's, and then I kept
had
the
a
other
double.
one.
Yeah,
yeah,
so
double. So
extra.
yeah, we did a lot of weird trading there.
So
Games
yeah,
got
it's
passed
like
around.
Vice Project Doom is like our incestuous game trade here in
Yeah,
Multitapped.
Vice Project Doom. The box art is cool. I was really happy to get.
awesome.
And I think I got it for like.
derpy.
Yeah, I think I
Kinda
got it
that
for
woman.
cheap. I think I got it for cheap too for the CIB. I want to say it was like 30 or 35. That's why I jumped like all over it. I was like,
bad.
fucking yeah, hell yeah, give me that shit. But yeah, another cool one to have. Yeah, Power Blade's really up there too. I know
That was
someone
like 15
Ryan was
for
just
me.
mentioning it.
Definitely right before the rise happened with Power Blade.
But yeah, a lot of those mid-range games, man. I don't know, Bucky. I remember I saw a copy here no more than 6 months ago, and it was one of the first times I've ever seen Bucky, and they won it like 100. I was like, come on, are you fucking serious? I mean, Bucky's really a $100 game? There's no way.
And these days, $100 is a steal.
Yeah, $100. That's what's pathetic. And same thing with Jetsons. I am so count my blessings that I got Jetsons for $3, and that was within 3 years ago, when it was still like a $56 game. Who knew it was going to go that high in price? No one. So, yeah, I don't know. A lot of these great games, are just shooting up through the roof. But yeah, Bucky O'Hare, man. Bucky O'Hare is a tough game. But I definitely think it's worth putting your time into playing. Actually, too, if you get a chance, download MAME and play it on the arcade. The arcade is really fun.
It's a pretty cool Konami beat 'em up, actually. I've
yeah.
never seen one in person either.
No, me neither. But it's an excellent game. I would put it up against like X-Men or Simpsons or Turtles. I think it's that good. It may not be as well known, but I think it's definitely worth putting it up against.
Ultra top tier beat 'em up.
Yeah, definitely fun. Super colorful. Graphics look awesome. I mean, it's just Konami at its best, really. Have you played the arcade, Nico?
Nope.
No. Yeah, really good, though. Definitely really, really, really good.
Been meaning to review that arcade game for a while, but I've only played like the first level or two of that arcade version.
Yeah, definitely. Ryan brings up a good point. Like, there's some games I would say, like, if you don't want to drop $120 or 150 on Bucky, get an EverDrive. Nico has one. But I would say this from a collector. Nice how you just almost hit yourself in the face with that. But
I hit my neck.
But yeah, as a collector, I'll probably get an EverDrive soon because there's a lot of games that I'm probably never going to be able to buy that I actually would like to play. But
personally done collecting for the NES, so
All your
EverDrive
dreams.
is definitely my future.
yeah, but there are, for me though too, like there are some games that I just want. I want the physical copies. I want a complete collection. As dumb and almost as impossible as that sounds, I would like a complete NES collection.
Even like stadium events.
Well, no,
occasions.
and that's the abridged. Put the asterisk next to it because there are certain games I think that are unattainable.
So you'd max out at like Little Samson, or would you say that's
No.
completely
I would Little Samsons, Flintstones, Zombie Nation, Panic Restaurant, stuff like that. Yeah, I would go that deep. Out of pocket, I would go that deep. Stadium events, great carts, gold carts. Shit like that.
Because Little Samson's not the price of a used Honda Civic these days.
Yeah, speaking of a Honda Civic, yeah, no, I would go deep. Like if someone came up to me, and I know this is a pipe dream because get it at this price is still insane. If my local game store said, "Hey, I got a Little Samson, I'll give it to you for $300," even though $300 is still a lot, it's not like what it goes for now. I think what is it?
About $1,100 now.
Is it $1,100? Okay, so it's $1,100. Let's meet it in half. Let's be realistic. Let's say $600. If they came and said
$750 is the lowest I think you might ever see it.
Okay,
days.
Little Samson, if they said it was for $6, I might actually consider it. I'd have to talk to my wife, make sure she doesn't kill me, but I might actually buy a copy of Little Samson for that much. As dumb as that sounds, I want it. It's like one of the holy grails. Now, if Little Samson goes to like $2,000 as it keeps trending up, then yeah, I may go fuck it. And be like, I'm never going to get this game.
It's on the rise more so than almost any other title. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it hits that.
I mean, that's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
It's insanity, man. No game is worth paying upwards of at least $50, or for Jared, $20.
Yeah. I mean, but I would love to have that and Simpsons and a couple other. Zombie Nation actually really intrigues me. Like, I would really like. It looks insane.
Game.
It looks insane.
That'd be another one.
But again, back to what Ryan was saying. Just fucking get an EverDrive at this point. Prices are so high, and if you just want to play the games, an EverDrive costs what, Nico? Like $120, $110, somewhere in there.
If you wait for like a holiday sale, you could go on for like $90 maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, for like $100, for like the price of one.
It's less than the cost of Mega Man 5.
Exactly. So just go and get you an EverDrive so you can play them. If you want to be a collector, you know, like me and Dubious, where we're obsessed with having the physical media, then yeah, be prepared to drop your pants. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna and bend over and take it up the ass. Because you're gonna nowadays it's not a good time to get in the collecting game unless you're lucky with garage sales and shit. You're just gonna get fucking.
Or if you're focusing on like Xbox.
Oh yeah, like Jay Hicks. Jay Hicks completed his entire Xbox collection and for like $1,000.
PS2 sports games.
Yeah,
exactly.
Complete Xbox collection for like $300.
Exactly. And I want something else too. If Jay Hicks comes to Dallas, which I'm hoping he does, and I'm not sure if he's still in here, I'm gonna have Arthur actually picked up, and I know I'm veering off the topic from Konami, but Arthur actually picked up a CIB that he says is almost in perfect condition for why can't I think of the? Oh my god, I forgot the name. The one with
like
the joysticks
Jurassic
that we
Park
gave.
or something?
No, the one we gave him with the joysticks.
Oh, Steel Battalion.
Steel Battalion. He said the guy like played it for a week and then put it back in the box and never used it again.
Wow.
And if you've ever seen a CIB, a Steel Battalion, it's really cool. It looks like a big army chest, and it's huge. And he said like everything on the controller is immaculate because a lot of that shit breaks off as it gets older. So I think he got it for like $150. I remember I told him, I was like, that's a fucking steal because that's what they go for loose, not with the boxes and all that shit. So
CIB, according to PriceCharting.com, is $222.
yeah, that's a good deal. $150 is a good deal because I think that game that thing will be one of those ones that as Xbox gets more popular as we get along further and people start wanting to collect again for it, it's gonna go up. So yeah, that'd be really interesting to see one of those.
I think in terms of that generation, though, the ones that are going to be worth the most is probably going to be the GameCube set, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, GameCube. I mean, GameCube's already high. I mean, fucking Mario Kart blows my mind. How Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, how high it is.
Gotta get that double dash.
Are you in that fucking Luigi's Mansion? Who the fuck knew when I was in line at Toys R Us that fucking Luigi's Mansion would be, nowadays a $40, $50 game?
That was the first game I got for that console.
I got it day one. I was there. But I was like, they sold so many. I have no idea why Luigi's Mansion is so expensive. That makes no fucking sense.
Tony Hawk 3 were the first two games I got for that system.
Yeah, I have Tony Hawk 3 as well. I like that game, actually.
That game's badass, dude. That's like the best Tony Hawk ever. I love that on GameCube.
So, yeah, so I know we're getting off topic, so... yes, thank you, Ryan, for bringing that up.
We can just go a whole nother hour. We're just going to talk about Tony Hawk.
We're going to talk Tony Hawk. Exactly. It's gonna weird and wild. Nico's going to take his shirt off, man. It's going to be all good. But yeah, Tony. You know what? Tony Hawks aren't that bad. As much shit as people get, I think they milked him. They put too many out. But I think Tony Hawk was a reasonably fun game.
Up until about Project 8, it was a really good series. I never really played those underground ones too much, but Project 8 was still pretty good. After that, it gets a little weird.
Yeah, definitely. So, but that's gonna do it for the Konami. I think we'll probably have to talk about Capcom games because I think there's a lot of difficult ones on Capcom as well. I don't even know how many they released, but there are quite a few.
Maybe there'll be a episode on Tony Hawk and the Jason Lewis experiment.
You know what we should do? Yeah, you know what we should do? We should do a real Tony Hawk. We'll all get skateboards and we'll just film it, and you can watch us break our hips and shit. Because I can't skateboard worth shit. I am
old for that.
I am terrible.
Be bedridden for months because we'd have broken limbs.
That would be you know what, guys? That's something you want to talk about Patreons and shit. We should start a Patreon for Matt if we raise $1,000 if we can get him on a skateboard. Because he'll be in traction for weeks. Because he'll probably break his fucking leg or his femur or something shitty like that. And then he'll just be like, my name is Matt and I have a broken leg. Because, dude, skateboards are fucking dangerous as shit. I was never...
I'm too old for that nowadays.
Oh, yeah, I was never good at it. Yeah, because here's the thing. It's one thing when you're playing football or baseball and you fall on the ground. Which, be fair, the ground is kind of unforgiving too, but... there's nothing that compares to being on fucking concrete and falling. There's no give. There's no nothing. I mean, falling off a skateboard was one bad roll or one bad slip, and that's it. I'm bleeding. I'm gone. So,
yeah, you could hurt yourself worse on a skateboard than a dirt bike, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. So we can do a half-assed Tony Hawk real life challenge where we all get on skateboards and shit. Don't be surprised if we're fully padded up with hockey or goalie gear so that we don't break our shit as we're playing Tony Hawk. But I always wanted to do that shit. I just was never any good at it. I realized as I got on it, I was like, I can't even keep my balance on this motherfucker.
I used to skate a bit, but I would hurt myself a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we'll do a Tony Hawk type scenario there at some point. But we're just gonna go for the Konami one. We'll probably do some other of these as we get along with them later on down the line. But I don't know what happened to Nico, if he had a stroke or something. But there he is. There he is. He's back.
Don't worry, I'm still here.
Were you downstairs on your skateboard? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, I was trying my sick new ollies.
Ollies, there you go. So, but we're going to wrap this one up. I would like to thank my guests. And as we do customarily, as we're leaving, we'll let them tell you where they can find them. Mr. Nico, where can the audience find you, sir?
You can find me at youtube.com/rewindmike for the Konami NES years.
Did you do a review for that?
Yeah, I did too. One's already out, but for the future, 1992, I'll be in one of those. But keep it secret.
I must have been smoking because I don't remember you being in any of these, Nico, and I've watched them 3 or 4 times. But that's
in the Jackal one for 88.
Oh yeah, you did Jackal. That's right. Okay, continue, sir.
But for serious, just find me at WeGuy309 on YouTube for 8-Bit Stereo. On Twitter and Facebook, it's the Wee Guy as well. You can find me. I've got the same gosh dang name everywhere in the profile. You'll know.
Exactly.
You'll know.
Exactly. Nico, when are you streaming next, bud? You got to watch Nico streams.
I don't know. Maybe sometime this week. I'm trying to think of tomorrow. You can catch me at twitch.tv/theweeguy_GGG, combining my Gaming Going Gone channel as well, where I do reviews and stuff that I never do because I'm a lazy piece of shit.
Nice. But he does good streams though. I try to catch him whenever I can.
Thanks. I also stream to the WeGuy39 channel as well at the same time, just for maximum viewership.
Exactly.
So you don't have to be on Twitch for those who are Twitch bitches.
Exactly. Still good stuff. So, Mr. Dubious, where I know you're in a new location, but where can we find you, and what series are you doing now?
You can find me wandering the vineyards of Napa Valley around midnight. I'm the ghost of Napa Valley.
The ghost of Napa Valley.
No, you can find me on YouTube at Dubious Gaming Online, home for NES Chronology, a new series that's taking a look at every single NES game in short, bite-sized reviews. Yeah, I'm also here on Twitch at Dubious Gaming, and I don't stream that much, but I do sometimes. Usually I'm just drawing penises on stream.
Pretty much, or has some fucking GIF going in the background or something. That's all he really does. But yeah, it's always nice to see him on his shit too. He's always pretty good on there. And of course, I am Jason from the Arthur X Jason channel.
Ooh.
And I want to do one more because I know we've been whoring him out all night. Like Mr. Nico was saying, go watch the Konami years. Rewind Mike's channel. Excellent series. Tons of collabs. We got a couple more years to go. I don't know if he's going to continue and go into the non-NES type stuff, but I think it's a really, really fun series, and it's been getting a lot of traction. So the guy did a lot of work to try to get all these collabs together. I'm on a few of them. I've done 2 already. I'll have 1 more. Like I said, you'll see Daisy. You see another one from Nico.
I'm on 3-ish.
3-ish. So yeah, definitely something to go watch. I would definitely encourage you, especially if you love Konami, just to see how it's all put together. There's so many different styles of stuff that you can definitely be entertained by any of it. So definitely go see that. As far as my stuff goes, I'm still working on a lot of different things, and alluding to what Mr. Dubious was saying, because most of you probably don't know what that means. We will be making a change. Don't know really exactly when it's going to happen. We will be probably adding or making a slight change with how the podcasts work. This one will stay where it's at. We will always still do this Wednesday night one, but we may be moving and adding another show on there. Haven't quite worked it out. I think Dubious called it Jason Lewis Experiment.
Jason Lewis Experience.
Experience, yeah. So maybe it'll be called that. I don't know. But we'll be doing a whole different type of show.
Your home for interviews, game talk, and other wackiness. Check out the Jason Lewis Experience.
Exactly. So we may be doing something like that, and I'm not sure. We don't know exactly what day, when it's going to start, all the details. Once we get all that shit together, we'll do a proper announcement. But don't worry, the Multitapped podcast will still be doing Wednesdays. We may rotate the hosts a little bit differently, but we're always still going to have it here. So that's definitely not going away at all, because I know you guys like watching like RPGs and stuff when we talk about E3 or any of the new game launches. So it's definitely something to watch. But I will tell you this, for the next show, for some of the ideas, and the guy's actually in here. I know he doesn't talk a lot, but I know he dropped by earlier. Moose, talking about Test Your Might. Moose is probably one of the best gamers that I've kind of talked to, that I know personally. The guy speedruns Mario. The guy speedruns all kinds of shit, and he knows some tough games. So one of these next episodes of Test Your Might, we're definitely going to have to get him on, whether or not it's on this one or the next podcast. So Moose is the man. So I'm really looking forward to that. What?
Just the Jason Lewis. Catch him on the Jason Lewis Experience.
Yes. I don't know if that's what's going to be called. We'll see. So, but yeah, we will be making some changes to the podcast coming soon. Once we get the full details, we'll let you know. But again, this one's going to stay the way it is. But like I was saying before, other than that, I'm still releasing a lot of different episodes of this and that. I may actually, was thinking about this the other day, do something that follows Dubious's NES Chronicles, or however you say. How do you say it again?
NES Chronology.
NES Chronology. I fuck it up every time. Where I do some like little mini things here and there peppered in. I am going to try to get a VHS Memories out soon. I won't spoil it on what it's going to be done on, but I think it's a really weird-ass movie. I'm probably going to watch it again on VHS after the podcast, so hopefully I get that one out soon. I'm definitely going to try to stream more as well now that I got the Gremlins Challenge out, and that's another one. If you haven't seen the Gremlins Challenge, go back and watch it. That was another really fun one. So a lot of good stuff coming up, and like again, definitely come back next week. I believe episode the next one, episode 20, should be on video game music. We will have back Mr. Nico as always. You can't have a music podcast without Nico. It will also have Wes, and then you'll also have me. So be looking forward to that. So that will be something interesting. Yes, I will. I will try to do that. I have a very vile tongue, by the way, Doug. So I will try not to use any naughty words. So I can't promise anything, but I will try that. But thank you for the tip. So again, this is going to wrap this one up, and see us next week for video game music as we continue on where we are in that series. And we will bid you all a good night.
Later.
Bye.